Brian, I'm coming to get you.
You've got to fight for what you want, for all that you believe. It's right to fight for what we want, to live the way we please. As long as we have done our best, then no one can do more.
Hello there, welcome to the Flushing Bloke podcast. I'm Siobhan, and yes. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, John Howe is still going on about that. Oh, it's brilliant. Our very favourite troll. And that's Dr. Sinister wearing a puny scarf.
Hello.
And Brian is dressed as Mr. Dr. David Tennant, sir.
Yes, Brian's cosplaying. Isn't that brilliant?
Brian, sweetheart, you look wonderful. You really, really do.
He's even got his own little sonic screwdriver, look.
That's superb. Well done, Brian. Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing you up at Hooverville, darling. Don't forget to wear your celery.
You got that sorted, haven't you? He thinks so.
Okay, good. You did tell me that he had a slight problem with the whole vegetable thing.
Yeah, he, as you can tell from his general palate, he doesn't really have a very healthy appetite. And
should do.
He does get confused, bless him.
If you're wondering where Daffy is, she's been told that Pewter Davison's at Hooverville. And she's a bit hot and bothered. Need I say more? So, yes, Daffy will be there. Again, we're still recording this on the same evening as we have done the past two shows. So there's a chance that this is going out after Hooverville. First things first, have you cast your vote in the Does Sinister Keep His Moustache thing? It's looking more and more French.
Hopefully, by the time this goes out, it might be a little bit fuller.
Okay. Trouble is, it won't actually be a little bit fuller on this show.
No.
It's a nice idea. I mean, you could always use graphics. Just colour it in using graphics or video graphics.
What, edit every frame painstakingly?
Yes.
No.
One follicle at a time. Yes, this I'm debuting my number 9.
It's very nice.
Yeah, I've had this jacket for years. And now I've got a use for it.
I'm wearing a leather jacket in kind of, what's the word?
Sinister way.
Comradeship with you. As for my scarf, this is one of those Lavazzi ones.
Is that an official one?
Yeah, but it's not terribly. It's not as heavy as I would imagine the real thing is, and it's quite thin.
All I'm going to say is go back a couple of shows, and you'll see the real deal. And my God, yes, it's heavy. Seriously, how Tom Baker wore that, the Leisure Hive, he's not just wearing the hat, okay, he's wearing the trench coat, he's also wearing a jacket, which we never see again, and the waistcoat, then the shirt, in the studio lights. The poor guy must have just, no wonder he was in a bad mood.
Talking of scarves, now that
Yes.
Brian's here,
Yes.
I'm getting a Fourth Doctor outfit made for him.
Oh, how wonderful! So he'll be able to do 2 cosplays.
Yeah, a friend of mine in the States has offered to put a costume together. Hopefully the only thing I'll have to pay is the cost of the materials. So I've given her some of Brian's measurements, haven't we, Brian? We're going to get a scarf made, hopefully a hat. I'm going for Series 12, sort of Genesis kind of era, you know?
Oh, right, yeah. Right.
So I'm thinking...
So you're going to have a brown duffel coat as well?
He's going to have...
Mysteriously vanishes and reappears.
He's going to have the kind of... no, not the duffel coat, but he's going to have the kind of... the shooting kind of jacket, and maybe like a green cravat, you know, that's loosely tied.
That's
so,
all right. What about a cardigan?
I've certainly mentioned the cardigan. Now, the thing to bear in mind is I'm only going for the feel here. It's not going to be screen accurate, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, I think Brian will look pretty good as the Fourth Doctor.
Okay, fair enough. Not the 12th
Obviously in real life, Brian plays the 12th Doctor.
12th to 8th. I do
12th
apologise.
to 8th, yes.
Sorry, Brian. Actually, I'm thinking this show's actually going to be out after Hooverville, isn't it?
Yes, it will be.
Yeah.
Wasn't it brilliant?
Yeah. Wasn't Brian and Daffy's guest starring role superb?
Yeah, we won't reveal who they've interviewed because it's a surprise.
Yeah, but the guest
enjoy it?
starring role on the Dominic Glynn panel, reenacting a scene from Trial of a Time Lord. There was a reason behind this. Because when we first sorted this out, Steve Hatcher, who does the audio podcast, Flashing Blade audio podcast, and he also runs the Hoovers convention, was a little bit wary about letting Daffy and Brian do any interviews.
Well, Brian's lovely.
And so I thought to myself, well, that's fair enough. But he's going to turn up somewhere. Stevie. Okay. Things to talk about. Marvel. Couple of the latest ones in the Ultimate Graphic Novels collection. Oh, by the way, I'm going to provide this to Sinister to be put in the show notes, not on screen, actually in the show notes on YouTube, where to get back issues of both this and the other range. You can pick and choose which ones you go for, as well as a wiki, which will show you what they've done.
Cool.
So, let's go for the Avengers first.
Birth of Ultron.
Yes, next year you've got the Avengers Age of Ultron.
Okay, I knew I'd heard that name somewhere.
This is the Birth of Ultron. It's a bit party because it connects Avengers 54 to 60 as well as Avengers Annual number 2.
It's a bit what, sorry?
Bitty.
Bitty, right, okay.
It's his first appearances, and he's not quite the villain he becomes. First of all, he's a mysterious cloaked figure, and you're not quite sure who he is. And he teams up. He's got like a new Masters of Evil, and you only realise it's a robot at the end. A robot called Ultron 5. Nobody twigs on that at all. Anyway, a little later on, this is interesting. You've got an alternate universe thing, which is showing the Avengers, what happens when the Avengers get corrupted.
Right.
And then the Vision turns up.
The Vision. That him.
He's a synthoid.
Okay.
And he's actually been created by Ultron to destroy the Avengers, using the personality print of Simon Williams, who becomes Wonder Man. It all gets a bit confusing and tied up with Human Torch and this, that, and the other, and the original Human Torch. Thing is, the Vision, well, doesn't really want to go through with it. And so we finally find out that Ultron 5 is actually an AI created by Hank Pym, Giant Man or Ant-Man or whatever he's called today. In this book, he ends up being called Yellow Jacket. Because he's on the point of a nervous breakdown, quite frankly.
You've had one of those, haven't you?
Only with one.
Well, that we know of.
The way to make it better is to admit it.
He's trying.
Yeah, well, bless him. This is good. This is old school Marvel, quite frankly. I think it's 1960s. I'm not sure. But it's good stuff. And considering I think they're going to mess with the origin of Ultron for the Avengers movie next year, it's nice to see where it comes from, quite frankly. That's a good one. If a bit old school. Talking of old school, here's another one.
Captain America and the Falcon, Secret Empire.
Now, this isn't the Falcon from the films, or indeed the staggering stories of Fernando Vargas. This is Sam Wilson, who you may have seen in Captain America Winter Soldier.
Haven't watched it yet.
Oops.
Nearly bought the Blu-ray the other day, but decided to wait until payday.
Quite right too. This is a fairly good story. It basically, one of the things about Captain America is, and you probably saw it in the film, if you're not familiar with the comic books, is his unswerving thing about what's right, justice, fairness. Yeah, what are supposed to be the proper American values. But that's a weakness as well, because people can target that and shake his belief, especially as the modern world slowly comes forward and things change. And this is what happens here. He's targeted by the media. Obviously, a bad guy organization is doing it, the Secret Empire. And as a result, it gets harder and harder. He ends up on the wrong side of the law. And luckily he's got the Falcon behind him, an ally, who is also trying to sort out. Well, he's got no superpowers of his own, so he's feeling a bit inadequate next to Cap. So he has to go and sort something out with that. This is, I think, set between X-Men volumes. So you've got guest appearances from a few of the original X-Men before Giant Size X-Men #1, where they introduced the whole new team. I think. At the end of this, Cap's very shaken by what he's found out. So Captain America must die.
Oh dear.
This is a good one. Fairly pivotal, because it really does, it explains how Cap fits into a more modern world than the black and white world of World War II, where everything is a moral certainty.
Mm-hmm.
You're up against the Nazis.
Yep.
You know?
Absolute.
Whereas this, it's a case of, no, everything's now in shades of grey,
Yep.
not shades of red, white and blue.
50 Shades of Grey? 50 Shades of Grey?
I'm not entirely certain. That's a terrible thought. But that's another two good volumes. Now, two of the other series have just turned up: Cyclops and The Warriors 3, which I can't wait to read, simply for Volstagg. I haven't read them yet, but we'll review them. Like I say, we're going to put a link to the wiki and where you can get back issues of all of these.
How many are there so far now?
There must be over 100 now.
And have you got all of them?
Yeah. I'm getting rid of all my videos, my VHS tapes, so I've got room, and moving shelves apart, so I've got room to put them all up. They're fantastic. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. But you're going to be you can pick and choose which ones you go for.
Are your shelves going to be able to hold the weight?
Well, it's 3 shelves, 2 collections. They've held the weight. They're quite good, you know. There's plenty of bracing support and whatever. I have to wait and see. But go and get those. And like I say, now we'll be able to show you how to, which I'm rather pleased about, quite frankly. Finally, this one's a good one. This is from Milk Publishing. I think you may remember us reviewing Jaunt and the Andrew Cartmel Script Doctor book.
Did they do the JNT thing?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
This is mainly from Autumn, which is Matt and Rob Hammond. And it's a book about the Sylvester McCoy era. And it's called, and I can't pronounce this, Wallowing in My Own Welschmarsch. I can't pronounce it. It's on their website. This is a charity book. It's for the Alzheimer's Society. It's for Alzheimer's. I got that wrong, and that wasn't intended to go wrong. It's an utter piss take of the McCoy era. But it's a well thought out piss take. It's a very Douglas Adamsy thing that they've done.
Talking about piss takes of McCoy, should we see what Mr. Chris has been up to this week?
Oh, that's a good question.
exciting life, isn't it?
How does he do it?
Don't know. You were saying.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a very Douglas Adamsy way of doing it. They've taken very logical questions and then extrapolated logically into the realms of the ridiculous, which is what Douglas Adams used to do. He would admittedly give you a ridiculous concept and then logically extrapolate it until it became dangerous. But it's a very similar way. Now, obviously, sorry guys, you're not Douglas Adams. You're alive, for a start. Hee-haw, hee-haw, hee-haw.
Do you want a moustache? Do you?
Tip pen. It's really, really good. They take questions for each of the McCoy stories, various questions, and try and investigate them almost sensibly, but not quite. How exactly does the first Doctor drop the hand of Omega off at the funeral parlour? Does he walk in one day with the casket and say, "Yeah, can you hang on to this for me, please?" Surely undertakers are generally involved in the business of making and filling a casket rather than just storing them. Can you imagine popping into a cot funeral care one day, having a chat with a black-suited minion and saying, "I brought a casket for you. It's already full." Imagine their reaction. "It's outside in the car." "Yes, yes. Well, she's already dead. Don't bother opening it, though." "I'm not a murderer. Honest. Just keep it for me. Whatever you do, don't look inside." If we were having that conversation, and we were some sort of doctor, if it were us, and definitely not the first Doctor having it, as that would be horrendously in breach of copyright, if it were definitely us, or Tom, having that conversation, we'd probably say something a bit like this. "Good day, my boy. Hello, Gov, what can I do for you?" "Oh, I rather think you're the perfect man to help me." "Yes." "Well, you see, someone's just died, you see." "Yes, yes, died. I put them in that coffin there, yes." "You put them in a coffin yourself?" "It's nothing unusual, you know." "Well, it is a bit." "She's definitely dead. I'm sure of it." "How did you?" "Are you a professional? Like, perhaps a doctor or something?" "Oh, yes, yes. I'm a doctor, yes. A doctor. Here's a gent. I'm sure I can help you with my perfectly innocent casket." "Yes, boy. Welsh undertaker." "Have a casket here which I would like you, young man, to look after for me." "Why, my, quite extraordinary." "You sure this is all above board, Governor?" "Yes, yes, yes, yes. It's just my grandmother." "Yes, she died, you see." "Your grandmother?" "Oh, stop all this shilly-shallying, Mr. Undertaker, and bury it, will you?" "Thing is, mate, people usually ring us and we go around in our van and collect the bodies. She's definitely dead." "I bet she is. We really can't take it, Chief." "I'm only trying to arrange for my casket to be left here. Don't start a jumble sale. This is an undertaker's, isn't it?" "Well, yes, but the lid's nailed down." I think we should open it, mate." "I shouldn't think there's any need for that." "We've already got it open, mate." "Yeah. Oh, I shouldn't. Oh, no, hang on a moment." "What's that, my boy?" No, there's no need to open it, you see. I'm not a murderer. And anyway, I hate killing." "It's just there's a problem, boyo." And what's that?" "Well, there are rules about this sort of thing, there are." "Yes, you know, I really believe I've underestimated you two, young man. Now, wouldn't you object to holding a casket for a dear old gentleman like me? Would you?" "Nah, mate, it's just, I love buggering around here all day. Anyway, places to be. That could be the best it is. Then I shall go, but one day I shall come back. One day, until there must be. Can you just leave now, please?" "Yes." "That's lovely." I love that. I really do.
Cool.
Yeah, it goes through all the televised McCoy episodes, including Dimensions in Time, including the TV movie. And it's hilarious. It's a bit puerile in places, but there's nothing wrong in that. Childish, but it really is a lot of fun. And I wholeheartedly recommend you buy this. Not just because it's for Alzheimer's, though that's a very important part of it, but because it is a really good, fun book. It really is.
How much?
I'm not entirely certain. You'll find out, and you'll put it underneath just here, right now. Yep. So there we are. Yes, go and buy it. I really need to work on my Billy Hartnell voice. I really do. Okay, that's us for tonight. Say goodbye, Brian, sweetheart. Say good night, Sinister.
Good night, Sinister.
Toodles.
You've got to fight for what you want, for all that you believe. It's right to fight for what we want, to live the way we please. As long as we have done our best, then no one can do more. And life and love and happiness are well worth fighting for. They're well worth fighting for.